This is a video walkthrough on how to use Git, and we're going to show how to use a remote repository like GitHub. How do you install it? Well, if you go here, I'm going to pull up a window here. You see here git-scm.com. There's downloads for Mac, Windows, and Linux, and you've also have there's a book here that you can do. You can read if you like. The purpose of this video is to get you up to speed and working with Git. A sudo apt install and then git. Okay, and then you're going to need to put your password. Okay, clear here. Go in and what's next? We're going to git config. So we're going to config some values. So they're global values. And what we're going to put is so that when we make our commits, because there may be more than one person using our repos. Okay, so we want to know, we want to say who we are. So when we make commits, we basically want our name attached to those changes. Okay, so here, Michael. Okay, git config global, and then we could say user if they need to contact us, right? And I put mgale at stogasi.on.ca, right? Okay, so that's, and if you want to see what what's already been input, like what are other global values, you basically go in and you say git config and then list. Okay, so this shows everything that we've configured. All right, now when you're first learning how to use Git, you may not know what a command is or what it does. If you just say git help, this kind of gives you the most common commands. Actually, let me make this screen a little bigger so that we can open this up a little bit further. Okay, so look, there's a whole bunch of different commands here. Okay, that you can learn. Now, if you don't want to see all the possible commands and you're interested in perhaps one command, let's say, I don't know, we haven't talked about this yet, but git clone, right? So you say git help on clone, and it will give you the man page or the manual page for this, and it tells you about how to use it, what are some of the options, etc., etc. There's a whole bunch of different things. Anyway, Control Z will stop that. Okay, we go clear. So at any time you have a question about what a command does, git help command name. Okay, if you want to see other commands, they're there. Okay, so next step. When we use Git, we either want to have just a local project. Okay, so option 1 is local project. Option 2, which is probably something we're going to use going forward when you're working with teams, is using a repo. Okay, a remote repository, a remote repo, like GitHub or GitLab. Okay, so what we want to do is let's do the first one. Let's just learn Git at the terminal just for a local repo, just for now. Okay, first thing we want to do is, okay, we want to create a repo. So what we need to do is we need to, let's say ls. Okay, where do you want to store these files? So we say cd. We say documents. Okay, so ls. There's some projects in there. I don't really need that one. Let's say rm, just to show you a few little commands. Rm and then recursive new project. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. So yes, yeah. Okay, sorry. There. Okay. ls. What's in here? Nothing. Okay. So let's create a folder. So make dir. And we'll just say local project. How's that? And then say cd local project. All right, nothing in here. If I want to see all the hidden things, so this dot here is the current directory. This is going up one directory. Okay, so that's nothing there. So if I want to initialize or start tracking this local project using Git, the command is git init. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little bit, make this text a little bit bigger for you. So we go in here. It was properties, sorry, preferences. Go here, and let's go with a little bit larger size so that you can see it a little better. Maybe go 18. Hopefully that's big enough. And what I'm going to do is close that, and let's put this to full screen. So now you can probably see what I'm writing a little better. Okay. So what I did, I initialized. So with Git init, we initialized our local repo. And to show you what that does, so you say ls to see, you'll see that there's a .git folder. You can go inside and see. We don't really edit this, but you can see what's inside here. ls-la gives you everything basically. Okay, even the hidden stuff if there was anything. But anyway, these are all of the folders and files that Git uses to track changes to our project. Okay, so this is our repo folder. We're not going to edit anything in here. We let Git do that. Okay, next step. If you did want to remove tracking, just to show you, you basically use the remove command with a recursive handle, and you say .git. Okay, that'll remove the tracking. It removes the Git, but we're not going to do that. We need that. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we have just to show you, actually, let me show you how Git works and what these working directories are here. So I made a little icon here for you. Okay, so currently we're in a working directory. When we create a file, it goes into this directory where Git is monitoring it. When we're ready to make a commit, what we do is we move files from our working directory into a staging area. You see this camera here. It's to kind of remind you we're taking a snapshot of the files as they currently are. So we take files from our working directory. We're not actually moving the files, but we're sort of adding them in Git to a staging area. Okay? And then once everything is staged, we make a commit to the repository. And basically this snapshot gets stored as a chunk in the repository. So when we want to make a file, go into our thing, and you can create it in VS Code, but I'm just doing everything from the terminal right now. So we say touch, and we're going to make a file. So we say file1.py. That's one file. I'm just going to make another one file. Touch file.txt. Okay, so I got two files. Okay, they're in my working directory. Now, how do I know that they haven't been staged? So what we do in checking what the status of things are when they go from the working directory into the staging area, their status between getting staged, we use git status. And what that does is it tells us right now. See how they're in red? File and file1.txt. They're in red. Now they have not been added to the staging area. They're just in our working directory. Okay. If I want to add them to the staging directory, I say git. I use git add. Now I can add them one at a time by naming the files. Right? Or if I want to add all of them, I use the -a, and that adds everything to the staging directory. So I could say git status now, and I could see, you see how they're in green? So I've taken a snapshot of these files. Okay. Now let's say that I didn't want to add file.txt. Okay. How would I remove that from the staging directory? Well, instead of git add, the opposite would be git reset. Now, if I say git reset without naming the file, it takes everything out of the staging directory. Right? Look. Okay? Everything is taken out. Okay? So let me just clear and put it back to the top. Okay. So now if I want to add, so I say git add file1.py. Now I say git status. Now I can see that file1.py. Now let's say let's say I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of files, but I really don't want file.txt to be added to be tracked basically by Git. It's a private file that it's in the directory, but it's something that I don't want Git to actually track. So what I have to do if I want Git to ignore file.txt is to add a git ignore. Okay, so how do I do that? I have to create it. So touch dot git ignore. Now if you recall, or if you know, the dot in front of a file means it's hidden in Linux. Okay, and then I just edit that file. So I'm going to use nano. I know you can use VS Code if you like, but I'm going to say nano dot git ignore. Okay, and here what we do is we list the file names, or we can even use file types to ignore. So I'm going to say if I want all text files to be ignored, I say dot text. Okay, or I could just, if I only want that file dot text to be ignored, I just add that, and that's it. And then Control X to save. Yes. Now, watch what happens. So if I go now git status, I shouldn't have file.txt shown. Do you see? Yes, git ignore is there because git ignore I created just now, but that file.txt is not there. Now, how do I add the .git ignore? Because I want that to be committed. I want the git ignore to be added to the staging area. So I would say git add. Now, if I want to type git ignore is a long word to type, but if I just want to add everything in the working directory, just do that. Okay, anything that has been changed. Okay, and then I could say, okay, let me just clear it. Say git status, and now everything that I want to take a snapshot of to put into the repository is there. Okay. All right. So now what's the next thing? So everything is in that staging area, right? So these files here, git ignore and file1, there's a copy of them. It's in the staging area. Okay. And now we're ready to take this snapshot of all the files that we want to show the changes of, and make a commit to the repo. Okay, so that's our next step. So what do we do there? How do we do that? Okay, well, I mean, it's really simple. We basically just say git commit, right? So it's all in there. So it's git commit, and we usually always put a message, and it's a descriptive message. So it would be initial commit, right? You could say added .git ignore and file1.py, right? And enter. Okay, so now if we want to see, if we say git status now, take a look. Look what happens. There's nothing there because we've taken everything out of the out of that area. Okay, out of the staging area here. Okay, we've taken everything from here and put it into the repository. Okay, so there's nothing in there, so it says working tree clean. Okay, but everything's inside our repo. Okay. Okay, so now, okay, we saw git status it shows us. So git status is actually used between the working directory and the staging area, right? Now, what shows us all the commits that are in the repo? Shows us all the changes that have been made. Well, that's a command called git, okay, log. Okay, and we only have the one commit, and you see initial commit, added .git ignore and file.py. This is the, if you remember, this is the message that I wrote here, up here, initial commit. Okay. All right. So we made one commit. We made one commit to our local repo. Now I want to take a look and see a couple other things. All right. Let's try something. I want to take a look. So if I go and I start editing file1, right here, let me show you. Git diff shows any changes in the working directory since the last commit. Okay, so I say git diff, nothing's there because I haven't made any changes yet. Okay, so if I go and I say I want to edit file1.py. So we say nano file1.py. All right, now I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna add something. Let's add a function. Func1, right? And okay, we're using Python here. We're gonna say print hello, something like that. Okay, save. Control X. Oh, did I? Let's do it again, just to make sure. I'm not sure if that got saved. Okay. All right. So we made a change. Now that's in the working directory, right? We haven't staged it yet. So we're gonna go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna say, okay, show me git diff. Show me the changes that have been made since my last commit. And here it shows it, right? You see, plus these were things that were added to file1.py. Okay, so these are the changes that were made to file1.py since the last commit. But if I stage file1.py, so if I say git add, right, file1.py, I'm putting it into the staging area. Now if I say git diff, sorry, there's no changes, okay? Because now it's the difference between what is in the working directory that has not yet been added to the staging area. Okay, so diff is used only there. Okay, anyway, enough of that. Let's take a look at some other things. Okay, typically in Git, the workflow is that you have a main we call branch called master. Here, let me show you. Git branch. Okay, git branch is a command that shows you all of the branches that exist. So when we want to, let's say we want to make a change to file 1, okay, from the initial commit. So we have master. Master is sort of, it's deployable code. It's code that you can give to a user. It's working, it's been tested and everything. But when you want to add a new feature to the code that hasn't been tested, hasn't been checked by anyone, you create a branch. So how do you do that? How do you create a new branch? So what you do is you type git branch with the name of the branch that you want to create. So you say new branch. Okay? And then when you say git branch again to list all of the branches, it will show you they have the master branch, which is the current branch that we're on, and new branch, which we haven't yet selected. Now, new branch is a copy of the branch of master from the point that the branch was created. So we say if we actually want to move to new branch, so actually we're in master. Say ls. Okay, we got file1.py and file.txt. Okay, so how do we move over to new branch? Well, we go to new branch by saying git checkout new branch. And now we've switched. So if we say git branch, right, we're on new branch. You see how there's the star on the side here, and new branch is green. Okay. Now if we were to create a file, right, so if we say touch and we say file2.py, okay, and then we say ls, we see that file2 is there within this branch. But is it in master? Well, okay, say git checkout, right, master. Okay, now say ls. So there is a mistake here. We didn't add that to the staging area. Git checkout new branch. Okay, ls, file2 is there. Alright, so now we say git add file2.py. Alright, and then we say git commit file2.py, and then we say added file2.py. So we're going to do the commit, and then we're going to say git log to see the changes. Okay, so we have a second commit. And then we say, okay, let's clear just to keep things. So now we got to take a look. What happened? Because the change, you saw that the file was there, but I made a commit. So I hadn't made a commit. So let's go ls. Let's go git branch. I'm on new branch, right? So let's go git. So you see that we have file 2 in here. So let's say git checkout master. Okay, ls. You see? See that file 2.py is not part of master anymore. Okay, that's an interesting feature. So what's the next step? So we have 2 branches. So here, let me clear. Okay, you've got master and you've got new branch. Okay, now let's say that we want to merge the changes. Okay, so look, you're in new branch. Okay, so let's go git checkout new branch. Okay, so I'm in new branch. So if you see git branch, shows you that I'm in new branch. Okay, so if I say ls, this file 2 was added. This could be a new feature that I'm adding to the project. Okay, now let's say that I've done what we call a pull request. If I was working with a bunch of people, or if I've asked someone to take a look at the code and it's okay, and now I can bring that new feature into deployable code, into the master branch. So what do? Well, basically what I need to do is I need to go to master. So I say git checkout. Okay, so from master, I can merge a branch into master. Okay, so how do I do that? So once I've gotten, if I was working with a bunch of people, I get permission. What I do is say git merge, right? And then I put the name of the branch, which is new branch. Okay, so now what I can do is I can say ls, you see, file 2 is now part of master. Now if I want to take a look at all the branches that I've already merged into master, git branch merged. Okay, and you see new branch has been merged to master. So basically once you've merged a branch into master, all you have to do is, well, all that's left is to delete the branch. Okay, so what you do is you say git to delete a branch, git branch -d, okay, and then you name new branch. Okay, so once it's been merged, you don't need to keep that branch anymore. You can delete it if you like. And then you say git branch, and only master exists. Okay, so that's basically it for the kind of flow that you're going to see with Git locally. The other option for working with Git is to have a remote repository, which is what GitHub is, or GitLab. Hear this, and I got a nice graphic here for you. Okay, so basically working with a remote repository, you have your local repo, which is in here, and here's your remote repo. Okay, now what you can do is you can clone a remote repo. Okay, and you can push and pull changes from that remote repo. You can push changes from your local repo to the remote repo. Okay, so as you make changes, you reflect those changes remotely, or you can pull changes that others have made at the remote repo into your repository, so that you're up to date. Okay, so these are the commands. You've got clone, you've got pull, you've got push. Okay. Now let's take a look. So when working with a remote repo, the repo. Let's start with the assumption that the remote repo already exists. Okay, it could be on GitHub or GitLab. Okay, and that you want to actually clone an existing repo into your project. How would you do that? Well, first of all you need an account. So you go into GitHub, create your account, and then you'll have you'll have an account to work with. You'll have a place to add a repo. How do you add a repo? In GitHub, you can add a remote repo here. Go new repo or new repository, and you can create a repo locally, or you can create it remotely. I'm just assuming that a repo already exists, so I'm just going to make a sample repo here that I'm assuming already exists. Sample demo repo. Okay, and I'm going to make it private because it's kind of not useful. We'll do the assume everything has already been add a git ignore. I don't know. We can leave that. We can make our own, and then just say create repo. Okay, so we have this sample repo that currently exists. Typing wasn't great, but anyway. All right, so we have this sample repo, and the location of the sample repo is here. Copy. They actually showed it on the previous page when it was created, but that's okay. All right, so what do we do now? So we've got an existing repo that exists, and we can clone it. Okay, to kind of get you used to working with this, let's make. Oh, let me keep this open here. Let's look at cloning an existing local repo, just to show you how the git clone command works. It doesn't have to be at a location outside your computer, but git clone works like this. You say git clone. Okay. Actually, first thing I want to do, I want to move out of this local project because I want to show you. So cd dot. Okay, I'm in documents. I have local project there. Okay. Let's create another one. Make dir cloned project. Cloned local project. How's that? And then say cd and then clone. Oh, if you push tab, it does it for you. See that? Beautiful. Okay. So clone local project. So let's say that I want to clone my local project into this project. Okay, into this directory. What do I do? Well, look, git clone works like this. It says you say git clone. Okay. Then you have a source directory or a source location, right? And then you have a destination. Okay, we don't need, this is just filler here. So you have a source, which could be a URL or a location on your drive, and a destination, which is typically a location on your drive. Okay, so look, the destination could be dot because we want it to be in this current directory, and then the source can be anything we want. It could be an HTTP site, right? It could be a website or a repository on GitHub, or it could be a local one. So let's just do this quickly just for our local. So to go, we go up one directory, so out of clone local project and into local project. So this is the repo that we want to clone. And we say done. So it's cloned. So now if we go in here, look, file 1 and file 2 are in this directory. Okay, so let's do this now for a remote repository. So let's go cd dot. Let's make another one. So it's a make dir, right? Actually, here, let's clear this for a second. Clear, just to keep this nice and simple. Make dir, right? And then we'll just say remote repo. Okay, and then go cd remote repo. Right? Nothing in here. You can see ls-la, nothing. Okay, so now let's say we want to clone the GitHub repo that's up here. This GitHub repo, this guy right here, which I took a copy. I cut it now, but anyway, doesn't really matter. Close that out. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to say git clone, right? This guy, so Control Z doesn't work, so I'm going to have to paste, and then dot to this directory. It's going to ask you for your username and your password. So my username, okay, I've got like Conestoga, and my password. And now what I've done is I've cloned in everything from that repo. Now that's an empty repo, right? So if I go in and I say, let's say ls. What do I have? I just have README file, which I asked them to to put into this project. Okay, I asked it to be. So look, when I did clone, I basically, so this address becomes my origin. Origin means remote repo, right? So look, do you remember at the beginning when we said, okay, what are the the configuration? What's the configuration? If I say git config, right, and I say list, you notice here, look, I have this username, which this was global. I made it global. This is global, okay? But look over here, origin. You see that? That's the origin. That's the location on GitHub. Now, origin always refers to this location, okay? The remote location. All right. So just want to be clear on. So when we clone it, when we clone the existing repo, that's what we're doing. All right. Let's take a look. Let's play around with this a little bit. Clear this. I want to show you. All right. Now, if we want to see that remote location as well, there's another way to do it. You can say git remote -v. This shows you what origin is. Okay, there's push and pull or push and fetch. Okay, this is we'll take a look at these in a second. Another thing we might be interested in is what are the branches that exist both locally and remotely, because there may be existing branches on the remote server. So the way you do that is git branch, and basically this is like all branches -a. It tells you that, okay, we have our local ones here is master, and then our remotes we have. So okay, look, there is an association between origin, the master at origin, okay, and our master that has been made. Okay, there's an association that if I wanted to push or pull, and I'm in master, I have selected, I'm on the master branch here, it knows to push and pull to master. Now we never really want to push and pull to master without asking anyone that's part of our team. Okay, if we're working on a team. So what I'd like to do is just show you sort of a workflow for working with remote branches, remote repository to do that. So we're not going to work with master. What we want to do is we want to always create a new branch. Okay, we always want to create a new branch before we start working. Now let's say, okay, let's do a first step. Let's say that we want to start committing to master. Okay, so we say is we never want to push to master, but what's the best way to kind of show you this? Okay, let's push to master just to show you how you do that. So first thing we want to do, let's do a flow right now. This is our first sort of commit to master. So we're gonna push everything up that we have currently. Okay, so we say, all right, ls. What do we have? We have a README file. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to create some files. Touch file 1.py. All right. So now we're gonna go nano file 1.py. We're gonna do our edits. So we say def and then func1, and then we say print hello. Right? All right. And then we say control X to save, say yes, and then it's saved. All right, so we added a file. And now, so we say git status again. Okay, it's not in the staging area, right? If we say git diff, what happens? We haven't really made any commits, right? So there's nothing to compare to. So let's go in and say, all right, git add. We'll add everything, right? Then we can say git status, and it should be everything should be ready to be committed. So here we say git, right, commit, right, we're on the master branch, and we say with a message, we say initial commit added file1.py. Okay, so we've added that file, it's been committed, but this is in the local directory, right? This is the local master. All right, so what we need to do, so now we can say git log, and we can see this, that we've made these changes. Now this is from us to our local master, but not to the master at the origin. Okay, so if we want to do that, if we want to push these changes from our master up to master on the remote repo, we say git push. Okay, and then it'll ask us for our username, and then it will ask us for our password, and it's basically updated it. Now this git push worked because there was an association between local master and remote master. So there's a master exists on the remote server and on the remote repository, and master exists on the local repo. So this works very well. Now we never really want to push to master, right? We never really want to write directly to master. The way that this usually works is if we want to create a new feature for our project, we have to create a branch. Okay, so what we do is we say git branch. Oops, git branch. If I can spell. Okay, so we're on master. So let's say git branch new feature. Okay, so now we say git checkout new feature, and we'll be on. So we say git branch, we're on the new feature branch. Okay, so now what we can do is we can start doing things, right? So if we want to, let's say we want to edit the file1, right? So ls, we have file1.py, so we say nano, I'm using nano because I don't want to open up nano file1.py. We're gonna add a new function here. So we say def func2, and we can say print, and then I don't know, goodbye or something. Okay, so we say Control X. Let me just make sure it's saved. Control X, yes, okay. All right. So now, if we said git diff, look, we should see that we added func2. Okay. All right. So now we can say, so we're in this new branch, right? So these changes are made. We haven't. So we say git add, right? And it's file1.py, or we could say -a if we like, right? And then we could say git status. You see that it's ready to be it's staged, and now we can say git commit, right? And then we say added func2 to file1.py, right? All right, and it's been changed. Okay, the next step is to make this. So so in our local repo, right? We say git branch. Look, we've got we're in new feature, and file1.py has been edited. But if you look at it, if we were to change, if we look at, so nano file1.py, look, we see func2, right? Control X. Now if we say git checkout, right, master, all right, and then we say we do the same thing, nano file1.py, you see it hasn't, there's no changes there. Those changes have not been merged. Okay, so let's say we're working on a remote repository, but we want others to be able to see our new feature. Okay, so we need to upload this new feature up to GitHub so they can take a look at our changes. So if we go in and we say git checkout, and you say, what is it, new feature, right? We're in new feature, we're in that branch. Now with this new feature, if we say git, right, branch -a, you can see that new feature exists only locally, doesn't exist remotely. So in order to add that, okay, to add that to our remote, we have to use git push with this weird option u, okay, origin, okay, and then the name of the branch that we want to push up from our local repo to our remote repo. Now this u, remember how master and origin, and local master, and so this master and this master have an association? This is how you make that association. Okay, this associates so that we can just say git push and git pull from within the branch. So when we're inside of a branch. So we're going to go git push u, and then we're going to push up new feature. And it's going to ask us again, sign in. All right. All right, and then okay, so now let's take a look and see what happened. So it's set up this association between new feature local and new feature remote. How do we know? Okay, well, we can go here and we can go into our sample. Okay, and then we can take a look. We have now two branches, and the two branches are master and new feature. Okay, and so you can see that you can even do this with master. If there was, for example, no master in your remote repo, you can do the same thing as what we just did now. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at what's the next step. So let's say that so why would you want to push to a remote branch? So why would you want to push your local branch to a remote repo? Well, you want others to see what you've done, the changes that you've made, so that you can do what's called a pull request. And a pull request is, so if from within this branch, right, you can do a pull request. And what that is that initiates discussion among your teammates. Okay, so it says, okay, take a look at the new branch I created, take a look at the code, and basically let me know if we can merge this to master. Okay, same thing as we did before. So what we're going to do is we're going to, you can do that from here. You can do a pull request from here and ask people to take a look at what you've done. Okay, and they're going to take you can do a comparison. Basically, it shows here, look, these are the changes that I've made. Okay, and people will discuss and put comments. Now, you can merge it from here. Right, here's your create your pull request. Okay, so now people can take a look and see what. Now you can merge from here, but it doesn't really. I want to show you from the terminal, right? I want you to be able to use everything straight from the terminal. So, and it sees, look, these are the changes that were made, and people can make their comments. Okay, if you get permission from everybody, these are the next steps. Okay, so you don't have to do it from here. You can actually merge straight from here. Okay, so what we're gonna do. We've got our branch. Where are we here? Which branch are we on? Git branch. Okay, we're in new feature. So if we want to merge, we want to bring new feature into master, right? So what are we going to do? We got to say git checkout master. So from master, we got to be in master, and then we say git merge new feature. Okay, so then now we can now take a look. ls. Okay, so if we say nano file1.py, now we should have the second function brought into it. Okay, Control X. Okay, now we've merged the branch new feature. We don't need it anymore. So what do? We say, okay, so we can say git branch like we did before, d new feature. And this deletes the local branch. Now, if we want to delete the remote branch, there's another command. Okay, so we go in here and we say git push, right, to origin, and then delete, basically. Okay, new feature. So we're deleting. I know it's kind of, the local one was D and the remote one was. And now you need to put in your password. So you say okay, and then put in again, sorry, your password here. And then it will give you a report that it deleted new feature on the remote repo. How do I know? Well, now I can go back to, let's go here, and I can see that now there's only one branch. Okay, that remote branch is now gone. Okay, so that's basically the flow. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Once you get the hang of it, you will it will become easier as you go along. Just remember, don't push to master. Always create a branch and merge the branch after you create a pull request. Okay. Thanks everyone, and have a good time playing with Git.